You have completed reading about adult learning and watching a presentation on adult learning. Through these assignments, you have seen how adults accumulate a wealth of life learning experience because learning takes place everywhere. You've been shown that life learning experience is important and have learned that experience alone is lacking and must be balanced with theory. You have also learned that when life learning experience is balanced with theory, it can have academic validity. However, in order for the learning experience to have academic validity and be worthy of college credit, it must be married with critical reflection. Critical reflection involves identifying and analyzing the what, why, how, and what next of the learning experience. Now, at this point, you will hear and read the words life learning, experiential learning, prior learning. These terms are all the same thing. Different words but with the same meaning, life learning experiences. We will be doing critical reflection of life experiences by following a particular model called Kolb's model of experiential learning. David Kolb, an educational leader in the field of adult and experiential learning, developed a system of analyzing life experiences. The premise of his system is that in order to critically reflect upon life experiences, you must be able to analyze the learning experience 4 different ways: the concrete experience, observations and reflections, abstract concepts, and testing or applications to new situations. Kolb's model of experiential learning is represented in the following way. The concrete experience is identifying the what, where, and how the learning was achieved. The concrete experience is unique to the individual because adults choose a variety of ways to gather information. There are no rules to follow. Remember Bob from your reading, Introduction to Personal and Professional Development? In order to learn about Thailand, Bob watched movies and videos about Thailand, read books, and talked with people who had gone to Thailand. When in Thailand, he went to temples and markets, visited people's homes, participated in local celebrations, and ate a variety of Thai food. The culmination of all these experiences resulted in Bob learning about Thailand. After one has identified how the learning was achieved, the next step is to reflect and analyze what occurred during the learning experience. This is called observations and reflections. Observations and reflections ask why and what of the learning experience. Observations and reflections require one to do a close investigation of the learning experience. Questions that are part of this investigation are: why did you choose the various learning experiences? What did you like? What didn't you like? What did you expect the learning experience to be like? And what was reality? What was the hardest part of the learning to understand? What was the easiest? If you had to do it all over again, what would you do the same? What would you do differently? And what was the greatest tool you had in order to learn? Like the concrete experience, observations and reflections are unique to the person. For example, there may be some aspects of Bob's learning in Thailand that he liked, and others he did not. Also, Bob's reflections on his experience in Thailand may be completely different than another person who went to Thailand. That's perfectly okay, because observations and reflections are unique to the learner. After one has identified the concrete experience and reflected upon the learning experiences through observations and reflections, the next step is to identify abstract concepts and generalizations. Abstract concepts and generalizations are the facts, rules, theories, and principles, which are true for anyone who has the same learning experience. For example, although Bob and others may have gone to Thailand for different reasons, experienced different things while there, and had different opinions about Thailand, there are certain facts about Thailand that are true for all. It's as if Bob and others were to teach a class on Thailand. They would teach the history of the country, the government structure, the predominant religion, the social structure, art, music, and literature. These are abstract concepts, facts that are true for anyone in the learning experience. After one has identified the ways of how the learning was achieved through the concrete experience, reflected upon his or her personal thoughts about the concrete experience through observations and reflections, and then identified the rules, theories, and facts of the learning experience, the last step in Kolb's model is applications to new situations. Applications to new situations is the so what and what next of the learning experience. How can one take all that was learned through the various concrete learning experience, reflections, facts, and principles learned, and apply all that knowledge to a new situation? For example, through Bob's travels, he has learned how to maneuver through another culture. He has a greater appreciation for different kinds of religious practices. He is more aware of international politics, and he has identified other countries and cultures he would like to experience. Kolb's model: 4 ways of analyzing a learning experience that includes the elements that must be shown for a learning experience to be considered for college-level credit: experience, reflection, theory, and application. Consequently, we will be using Kolb's model to guide us as we write life learning papers, which is the next set of instructional videos, How to Write a Life Learning Paper.